Once upon a time, in a quiet village, there lived a boy named Lenny, who loved nothing more than sleeping. From the moment the sun rose to when it set, Lenny could be found in his bed, daydreaming or napping. His parents, farmers who worked hard from dawn till dusk, tried their best to get Lenny to help, but he always found a way to avoid work. "I'll do it tomorrow," he would say, rolling over and closing his eyes. Day after day, Lenny's parents pleaded with him, but nothing changed. He grew lazier as the seasons passed, content to watch the world from his window without lifting a finger. Lenny's laziness became the talk of the village. While others planted crops, tended to animals, and built houses, Lenny remained tucked away in bed. The villagers whispered about him, calling him the lazy boy. Some children teased him, while the elders shook their heads in disappointment. Despite the teasing, Lenny wasn't bothered. "Why should I work when everyone else does it for me?" he would think. But deep down, Lenny felt a pang of guilt. He knew he wasn't contributing to the village, but the comfort of his bed always lured him back. One evening, as Lenny strolled lazily through the village, he encountered an old man sitting by the road. The man had seen many years and much hardship. He looked at Lenny and said, "Young man, idleness will get you nowhere. Someday you will find yourself with nothing if you continue on this path." Lenny shrugged, brushing off the old man's words. But the warning lingered in his mind. That night, as he lay in bed, he couldn't help but wonder if there was truth in what the old man had said. One night, after falling into a deep sleep, Lenny had a vivid dream. In the dream, he stumbled upon a magical tree covered in gold coins. The tree sparkled in the sunlight, and its branches were heavy with wealth. Lenny reached out, gathering the coins into his arms. "I'll never have to work again," he thought gleefully. However, as he filled his pockets, the tree began to wither and die. The coins turned to dust, slipping through his fingers. Lenny tried to catch them, but it was too late. The tree vanished, leaving him alone in a barren desert. He woke up in a cold sweat, unsure of what the dream meant. Lenny couldn't shake the feeling the dream had left behind. For the first time in his life, he felt uneasy about his laziness. But instead of jumping into action, Lenny thought, "Maybe tomorrow I'll start doing something." The next day, as Lenny lay in bed, the village was buzzing with activity. A massive storm was coming, and the villagers were preparing for the worst. Everyone worked together, securing roofs, gathering food, and reinforcing houses. Lenny's parents urged him to help, but as usual he muttered, "Later." That night, the storm hit with all its fury. The storm raged through the village, tearing down fences and flooding fields. The next morning, the sun rose over a village that had been battered but held together by the hard work of its people. However, when Lenny looked outside, he saw that his house had suffered the worst damage. His family's roof had collapsed, and their crops were ruined. Lenny's parents were heartbroken. "If only we had more help yesterday," they said. The guilt washed over Lenny. His laziness had caused his family's home to be destroyed. For the first time, he realized the impact of doing nothing when others needed him. Lenny, determined to make up for his past, decided it was time to change. He offered to help the villagers rebuild what was damaged by the storm. Though it was hard at first and his muscles ached, he pushed through. The villagers, surprised to see Lenny working, were quick to lend a hand and teach him the ways of farming, building, and crafting. Lenny found that work, though tiring, was rewarding. Each day, he gained more skill and strength. He began to understand the satisfaction that came with contributing to something bigger than himself. As weeks passed, Lenny's transformation became evident. He was no longer the lazy boy who refused to help. Instead, he became a key part of the village's recovery efforts. One day, a neighboring village sent a plea for help. Their own crops had been destroyed by the storm, and they had little food left. Without hesitation, Lenny volunteered to go and assist. His parents and the other villagers were proud of him. Lenny's work, once a source of shame, became a point of pride. For the first time, he felt the joy of helping others and realized that being a part of the community was far more valuable than lying in bed all day. One evening, after a long day's work, Lenny encountered the old man who had once warned him about his laziness. The man smiled warmly and said, "I see you've learned the value of hard work, young man." Lenny nodded. "I didn't understand before, but now I see that doing nothing was only hurting myself and those around me." The old man chuckled. "There's nothing wrong with rest, but too much of anything can be harmful. Balance is the key. Now that you know this, your life will be richer in ways you never imagined." Lenny had come a long way from the lazy boy who refused to help. He had learned the value of hard work, the joy of community, and the satisfaction of making a difference. The villagers no longer called him the lazy boy. Instead, he became known as someone they could rely on in times of need. As Lenny grew older, he continued to work hard, but he also made sure to rest when it was time. He had found balance and with it, happiness. And so, in the quiet village by the hills, Lenny's story became a tale passed down through generations. A story of growth, change, and the power of hard work.